For more than 6 decades of fragmented systems, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has directed the unification of passport production across the nation. This move is being hailed as a landmark step towards efficiency, transparency, and improved service delivery. Now, for millions of Nigerians at home and abroad, the reform promises shorter delays, reduced corruption, and a long overdue modernization of a vital national document. Now, joining me to discuss this now is Olufemi Lawson. He's the Executive Director of the Center for Public Accountability. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Deco, for having me.
All right. Let's look at this initiative, particularly in comparison with what we used to have or what we currently have. What this initiative promises is improved efficiency, uniformity, and also security, to a very large extent. But compared with what we currently have, how much of a difference or significant impact, are we looking at here?
Thank you, Dako. For me, and for those, even though a lot of people have said that the issue of national Nigerian passport is not all-encompassing, but I've come to realize that most of the people who hold that opinion are not those who actually understand the significance of the national passport. As a developing democracy, as a developing society, as a developing economy, what will eventually become the unifying point for us as Nigerians, either to get your license to drive, either to get your national identity card, or whatever is going to be your passport as a Nigerian, as an American, as a Briton, as an European. When you are born, when you become naturalized, when you become a citizen by marriage or whatever means, what actually presents you as a citizen bona fide to be entitled to drive, to get access to other social benefits, social security, it's your national passport. So we cannot for any reason underestimate the significance of the average Nigerian being able to access home and have a Nigerian passport. And that is why this conversation is very important. For me, it is beyond the fact that people who want to travel are able to access Nigeria. It is not about people who want to travel. At some point, as a Nigerian, you may need to have your details as captured in your Nigerian passport, to be able to access other very crucial social benefits, social security, and of course, important details about you as being a Nigerian. So this is a milestone, and I want to especially commend the determination of the administration of President Bola Tinubu, whom in his decisive wisdom didn't just sit back and expect that the expectations of Nigerians are going to be met by the virtue of his promises, but by also ensuring that he brought competent hands into being, especially in those very important areas, to ensure that these dreams are being achieved. And the issue of the Nigerian passport is one that has become very significant.
All right. You said quite a couple of things as regards the significance of this and some improvements thereof. We know that since this current administration and that particular, will I call it, sector of government, being headed right now by Olufemi Lawson, the Minister of Interior, came on board, there are quite a couple of, will I call it, pivotal things that, came up. But there are also issues around the affordability of this. There was a recent review in the cost, and this has been generating reactions. I'll take your opinion on that, but first let's go on a quick break. When we return, we'll continue the conversation. I still have Olufemi Lawson, the Executive Director of the Center for Public Accountability, as my guest. Thank you for staying with me. In your opening remark, you did say that this arrangement is pivotal and it's a milestone, achievement. But let's also talk about the cost of this. We know that before now, before September, the passport, that's for say maybe 32 page, used to cost about 35,000 naira, and then that's between 35,000 naira to about say maybe 50,000 naira, and then 64 page ran from 70 to about say 100,000. But right now, 32 page passport, I shot up to about 100K. That's 1,000 naira. Then 64 page, 200,000 naira. A lot of Nigerians are reacting to this review. That look, aside even the increase, the percentage is high. Just to identify, just to get a document to identify as a Nigerian, is this figure justifiable?
I'm not in the position, based on my role as a civil society person, to give justification for the increase in the fee obtainable to get a Nigerian passport or otherwise. But I want to speak as a Nigerian from my personal experience. Whatever the fee as applicable in the latest decision of the Nigerian Immigration Service as far as the cost of obtaining this Nigerian passport is concerned today, as a regular traveler, as a Nigerian who have experienced the past as far as this Nigerian passport system is concerned, and now, like I said, I don't want to speak for the Nigerian Immigration Service, but I want to tell you that this is perhaps not as burdensome as people are trying to make it to be. I want to give you a very specific example.
Okay, because I was about coming in there.
When I said, are you with me?
Yes, please land with your example. Then I'll do a follow-up. Please continue.
Yeah. Okay, so as a Nigerian, I want to give you a specific example. There have been instances while we're in the old order where I have invitation to attend summits or programs outside the country, and due to the expiration date of my passport or the request to renew my passport, I've had to go through the out route. In actual fact, there was a particular instance I was to attend the World Innovation Summit for Education in Qatar, and I realized that my visa duration exceeded. My passport would not cover my visa duration. What was the practice then? You have to approach the immigration, pay for speed and all sort of, slangs, logics that were used by the immigration officials to get you process your passport. What should ordinarily cost you, for instance, about 10,000, you have to pay triple. As we lived in this country where obtaining a Nigerian passport was like writing a WAEC exam. But today, and my example, like I was trying to portray, is such that what we were paying, trying to get the Nigerian passport through the black market, so to put it, through those people who stand at the gate in Ikoyi, in those passport offices in Festac, in Ikeja, to get your passport speedily processed and the like. If you calculate what you were paying and what we have to legitimately pay to get our passports available in a number of days, you realize that it is not.
Sorry, Mr. Femi. You gave an illustration.
It's not a justification.
Okay. No, I know. I get what you're trying to say, but I want to also come in here to say that, look, the scenario you painted is maybe, just maybe, this increment might lead to better efficiency, and one won't have to go through the black market to get this to get the document as at when due.
Dapo, you're absolutely right.
But
you know, when this increment was announced, prior to this month, prior to the introduction of this unified system, you know, we reacted. Even in the civil society, you know, we came out with position papers condemning the ministry, condemning the federal government for adding to the burden of the Nigerian people. But as at that point, that the federal government, the Nigerian Immigration Service, announced increment in the fee payable to obtain the Nigerian passport, none of us, including those of us in the media, were aware of the fact that no, our passports will no longer be printed, you know, across those places where they were being printed. Our passports will no longer be business for the boys who are contractors, who brings our passport whenever they are comfortable. Now, our passport is going to be printed under a unified system, which as such provides that if I'm going to pay that fee as introduced by the Nigerian Immigration Service, it means I am going to get my passport assigned when due, to the extent that Nigerians will no longer wait for 3 months, 6 months, and not those non-bearable time to get their passport as Nigerians.
Mr. Lawson, I mean, you said a couple of things, but I mean, I'm just trying to voice out here as the average Nigerian. This is not the first time that we've seen increment, you know, across, you know, some services of government, but at the same time, from experiences in the past, from history, it's no guarantee for quality when it comes to delivery of service. As a matter of fact, for some Nigerians, they feel that this is another avenue for the government to make money of its citizens, which it has been doing, you know, with recent reviews across board. So I think on the issue of trust here, do you think that the government in itself is even helping matters to sell its ideas to people? I want you to speak particularly on, I mean, you are a civil society person. Does this current administration, is it building trust with Nigerians?
Well, I would not want to speak, I would not want to respond to you in an all-encompassing manner. Of course, we've seen a situation in the past when government says, oh, we're increasing the price of fuel so that there can be affordability and the like. But for me, what we have experienced in the Nigerian passport system and other activities of the Ministry of Interior, I don't know how the president in his wisdom appointed that very young man, Honorable Olufemi Lawson, as the minister for that ministry. I think the president must have been rightly advised against every other decisions that we have criticized as Nigerians to appoint the minister in charge of this ministry. So for me, I have no fear, because a lot of times you are very correct that Nigerian government will come and promise, oh, we're increasing this so that there can be, but every steps that have been taken by the Ministry of Interior under the current minister appointed by the president is such that has justified every action that have been taken by the ministry. If you look at when the minister came on board, you know, it was like getting a Nigerian passport was like trying to, you know, go to the moon, you know, with a keke napep, which was practically like impossible. But today, getting a Nigerian passport is as affordable, available as. Now, I want to believe strongly that if the basis for this increment in the fee payable for obtaining a Nigerian passport is going to be on the basis of what we have seen in the last few days, the centralization of the production system, I want to believe that Nigeria should expect the best, considering the antecedent, the commitment of President Tinubu and the antecedent of the minister in charge of that ministry, the Nigerian Immigration Service. All
right, Mr. Lawson, before I let you go, let's just divert away slightly from the issue of the passport, and let's talk about something that is burning right now, or that is brewing in the country, and that's constitutional review. We know that right now, a conference is being held, and part of what is on the table is the creation of more states. I'd like to stay on that one, you know, for this conversation. Is this what Nigerians need right now? Because there are also conversations around the existing states and the viability of some of these states. And right now we are seeing conversations around expanding the numbers. Is that what we need?
In all sincerity, pardon me if I have to use this language, Mr. Dapo. Whatever you see as an agitation for creation of more states today, establishment of more local government, added to the 774 and some LCDs in states like Ondo, Lagos, and is purely the attempt by some politically exposed person to take advantage of their presence within the political circle to manipulate the constitution for the purpose of winning the next election. Nigeria, as it stands today, is not viable enough to create more states. Nigeria, as it stands today, is not even viable to sustain the existing local government structure. Nigeria, as it stands today, is not viable to even meet the needs of the existing state. Whoever is pressurizing the National Assembly, which I mostly believe is within the National Assembly and other structures of government to create additional states to Nigeria, is not being fair. It is not on the list of our priorities. And I think we should focus more on how we can rescue Nigeria for at least the current 4 years of President Bola Tinubu from the marriage of misgovernance inherited from the. And of course, this may sound very uncomfortable for so many people who are in the APC. President Bola Tinubu inherited a very terrible situation. I spoke on this program on some occasion that whoever was aspiring then to come and take over from President Buhari was coming to inherit a burden. President Bola Tinubu has come to inherit a burden. I pray and I hope he's able to survive this, because what was handed over to President Tinubu on May 29, 2023 was a carcass, it destroyed, a very mutilated.
Mr. Olufemi Lawson, can you hear me? I think we have lost communication with Femi Lawson. Interestingly, my response will have been the previous administration before the Tinubu administration happened to be the same party. So for many Nigerians, they would ask, what happened? I mean, are there not meetings at party levels to have maybe resolved some of these issues? But do we still have him? Mr. Femi Lawson, are you there? Okay, I understand that we, of course, have lost connection with him. It's been a pleasure having you, sir. Join us on the program. Of course, you just had Olufemi Lawson. He's the Executive Director for Center for Public Accountability.